Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video, I am collabing with Charlie. Her channel name is C Nut Butter Beauty, and of course, I'll have a link to her channel and a link to her video in my description box. This is our second collab on YouTube. We've done a collab together on Instagram. I've taken part in a couple of her singles cruise challenges on Instagram. I'll be doing that for the month of March. Although I'm hoping now that I haven't missed the date. I don't think I have, because I've done that recently where I just blanked the date, but I think I'm still doing good with that. And I just really want to recommend Charlie's channel to you guys. If you have not yet gone to subscribe to her channel, go do it. She is beautiful, she is creative, she's talented, she has great taste in makeup, and she's just really fun to watch and to listen to. And it's been a wonderful experience getting to know Charlie better. So we had so much fun with our last collab that Charlie's like, let's do this again. And I'm like, absolutely, Charlie, I would love to do that with you. And we talked about various palettes that we have in common, but we just focused on a brand, which is Blend Bunny. Now we don't have the same palette in common, but we do have palettes from the brand. I have the Lure palette from Blend Bunny, and I did do a 3 looks video with this palette and have not used it, I don't think, since then. I don't think I have. Maybe one other time, but I don't think so. And this is such a gorgeous color story. Oh, it's so beautiful. We have a row of shimmers up here, and then the rest of these are mattes. And I love how it's arranged by column, like monochromatic by column. Just, I don't know, makes things a little bit easier to look at, you know? Sometimes when there's a lot of different colors in a palette and it's just kind of haphazardly put into the palette, I struggle with it. But this is just very aesthetically pleasing to me. And I have never used this shadow right here, the shimmer right here. It's called Sailor's Delight. And last night I was asking my husband, I'm like, what colors do you think I should use? And he's like, well, why don't you use the shimmer that you haven't used yet? So that's what I'm going to be using in my look today. I might use another shimmer too, but I'm not positive about that. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is focus on like pinks, some of these blues over here, maybe throw a purple in too. But this part of the palette probably is what I'll be focusing on. And I think what I'll do first is start off with, I think what I might do is start off by putting this in the front part of my transition area, which is Booty. This one is called Explore. I think I'm going to put that towards the outer part of my transition area, or maybe, we'll see. We'll see as I put the look together, but I will definitely be using that shimmer shade in the look. I do have both brows done, and this eyelid is primed in the P. Louise eyeshadow base in Rumor 01. So, and like I mentioned, I'm going to start off with this shade right here called Booty and putting that towards the front part of my transition area. And Charlie and I talked about the Sephora Kids situation in our last collab. And Charlie's like, why don't we continue that discussion? And I said, that sounds great. Maybe not focusing solely on the Sephora Kids situation, but also talking about Gen Alpha, which is the current generation that's being brought up right now. And I think I was looking to see the years of Gen Alpha, like years of birth. And I think it's from like, what was it, 2012 or 10 to 2022? Is that right? My grandson, I figured out, is a part of Gen Alpha. And I'm like, because some of the things I found out recently about Gen Alpha, I'm like, what? I don't know. I think I live under a rock. And I think too, you know, my kids are adults now. And so I'm just not really connected a lot with, I don't know, the younger generation, I guess. And like, in terms of like social media. And so I just don't really know a lot of what's going on. So Charlie sent me a link to a couple different videos. And I cannot remember the name of the creator, but I'll link the videos that she sent me in my description box so you guys can go check it out. You probably already know who this person is and have watched their videos a million times, but I just don't know what's going on a lot of the time. But this creator was talking a lot about Gen Alpha and just different situations that have gone on with Gen Alpha. And, you know, obviously bringing into this the whole Sephora Kids stuff. And I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me. It really is. It's like, what the hell's going on here? And, you know, I understand that with every generation, there are things that are positives and negatives. And, you know, obviously I'm Gen X, which I think is the best generation that's ever walked the face of the earth. But I know that I'm very biased with that assessment, you know. But the things that I watched about, some of the things that go on with the whole Gen Alpha crew is pretty disturbing. And I realize that not every kid that's in the Gen Alpha generation behaves this way, has these types of situations going on. And they're also being raised by millennials. And I don't think that every millennial allows their child to just, run around doing whatever they want. But it's just been an eye-opener for me, definitely. One of the things that I, just didn't really ever think about is the fact that, technology has boomed, over the past 10 to 15 years. And Gen Alpha has been really, well, I don't know how to word this, but just their entertainment and stuff and how their education, a lot of things are just honed in on technology. I like that. It looks a little crazy, but I'll keep going and I think it'll look better. Now I'm going to go into the shade here called Explore and put that towards the outer part of the transition area. I do have a brush. Here it is. Okay. And I don't know that I used either one of these shades in the past. So I'm using shades I haven't used yet. I don't think I have. But like I watched this little clip in one of the videos that Charlie sent me. And this young woman, well, she's like in her 30s, so to me that's a young woman, is talking about the fact that she has this, I think a little girl, it doesn't matter, little kiddo, and the kiddo is like, I don't know, maybe 18 months old. And the mom is like fretting because she's feeling a lot of guilt and shame because this child wasn't given an iPad until they were a year old. She should have given the child the iPad before they turned a year old. I'm like, what the hell is a 1-year-old even gonna do with an iPad? It's like it's become this status symbol for these little kids to have phones and iPads and laptops and whatever else. And I'm just like, it's just so bizarre to me. And also in these videos, there's these interviews with teachers talking about how these kids are so hyper-focused on technology that they haven't learned how to spell. They can't read very well. Their math skills are horrible because they're using these technological devices that have autocorrect, and they're just not at the level where they should be because they're so focused on learning things through technology, which I think can be a wonderful thing, of course. But I also, there's obviously a huge problem here, huge problem, because, like they were showing these 8th graders and their spelling tests, right? And they were spelling pretty easy, simple words that like, I could spell and my kids could spell when they were like in grade school. And now these kids are like in middle school getting ready to go off to high school. They still can't spell these words. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I was like, because they don't know how to spell because they're using stuff like I mentioned with autocorrect and stuff like that. And, when they get home from school, a lot of these parents aren't really pushing the homework. They're just letting them sit and play video games and, be on Instagram and Facebook and, little kids on Instagram and Facebook. I'm like, ugh. And, of course my kids did have phones when they were growing up, but I didn't let my daughter have a phone until she was like, 14 or 15? My son had one when he was a little younger than that due to a situation where he was playing sports and the coach just left the kids like an hour early. So when I went to pick my son up from practice, he and a friend had been at the field by themselves for over an hour, and it was getting dark and they were scared and they had no way to get a hold of anybody. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm getting you a phone. But the difference here is that neither one of my kids were allowed access to the internet on their phones until they were much older. And also, I monitored what they were doing on their phones, and they could only communicate with like myself, my mom, like emergency type contacts. I mean, they could talk to a couple friends, but I was monitoring who they were talking to and what they were talking about. Okay, so now I think what I'll do, this does look a little funny, but I'm going to keep going. I will put, what shade on now? Let's go to the shade here. This is called Tentacles. I'm going to put the purple in the outer V. I'm getting colorful here. Also, a part of this video, the videos I watched, there was a situation where a teacher had called home to talk to a parent about the child's behavior in class. Like this kid was just out of control and not being very respectful to the teacher, and just kind of raising a ruckus in the classroom. And the teacher's like, this is what's going on, and I really think you need to come get your child because they're out of control, and there's only so much we can do here, and I'm worried about the other kid's safety. And the mom's like, well, I don't want him to come home. I can't handle my kid. Like, you need to take care of it. It's not my responsibility. You're the teacher. And I'm like, but you're the parent. And, that just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. Like, honestly, as I was watching the videos, I'm thinking, is this a joke? Like, is this a prank type situation? And no, it's not. Like, it's just this very strange attitude of, like, not wanting to be engaged in raising a child, wanting the teacher to basically, take care of it all, and also allowing social media to kind of like raise your kid. It's like, let's just plunk them on a phone or on an iPad or a laptop and let Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Snapchat, I don't know, raise our kids, because we don't want to do that. And also just kind of this attitude of these kids can just do whatever the hell they want to do. And, I was not a super strict parent. I wasn't, because I didn't need to be. My kids were very respectful, and they listened to me, and they did what they were told. And I also wanted my kids to have some autonomy and some independence. And, like I've talked about it before, where as my kids were growing up, I gave them, for lack of a better word, a very long leash. You know what I mean? Not really. This is more figurative than literal. But yeah, go do this, go do that. That's fine. I want to know where you are. I want to know who you're with, and you will come home when I tell you to, and that sort of thing. But they also had like chores, and, had to be respectful to me, and had to do their homework, and had to pass their classes, and, things like that. So I wasn't just letting them run amok. And, the social media stuff, I really put a hammer down on that. No, you're not going to do that. My kids still don't have Facebook. They both have Instagram. That, my son's hardly ever on Instagram, and my daughter is more so. But, I just did not let them have that type of freedom in that way. But like I mentioned, I was really fortunate because they were just really easy kids. I mean, yeah, they had their moments, they did. But, for the most part, they were great to raise. But it was because I was raising them, and I didn't expect their teachers or social media to raise them. So it's very foreign to me to hear about this stuff, because I'm just like, this can't really be happening. And it's happening, and I'm just glossing over a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot more involved stuff going on here. I'm gonna go back in with the pink shade, and a lot more just kind of horrifying things that are happening. And of course, this relates to the whole Sephora kid situation. Now, Charlie touched on something in her video that I didn't touch on in mine. I do want to lighten this up a little bit around both sides here. So I think what I'll do is take this shade here called, what does it say? Baited? Hold on. I think it says baited. I looked at these before. I always do that. I look at them before I film. Yeah, baited. I'm going to put this shade just around this edge here just a little bit. I do need to grab a little brush for that. But the articles that I had read about the Sephora kids situation, they were talking more about kids that were like between 10 and like 14. But there are kids that are even younger than that going into Sephora with their mothers, or I don't know, I guess their moms, and picking out really expensive skincare, really expensive makeup. And I can't even fathom that. I cannot fathom at any of those ages. Oops, let me get this out of the way so I quit making noise. My daughter doing that. I just, or my son, either one of them. I mean, I just would never have allowed that. And the excuses behind it from these parents, the moms, is just unbelievable. There are clips in these videos of girls that are like, I don't know, between like, 6 and 8, going to the mall with their moms. And like, as they're walking to the car, like the mom's filming this whole process, like vlogging it. And the mom's like, so what are you going to get at the store? What are you going to get at Sephora? And this 6-year-old is like, I want to get the Drunk Elephant and the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer and the Boopity Ba from this brand. And I'm thinking, and the mom's like kind of laughing, like, oh, isn't that cute? Oh, she knows her makeup. She really does. And I'm thinking, well, why does she know her makeup? There was another little clip too of a mom that was doing the same thing with her young daughter. I'm going to go around now with this shade here called Catch Me and put that around the edge of this. There's another mom. I think I'll just use this brush. This is a great brush. I'll clean it off a little bit. She was sitting there talking, you know, like vlogging this process too. And she's sitting there and she's saying, you know, my daughter loves makeup because she sees me love makeup and she sees me leave the house every morning with a full face of makeup on. And so she, you know, it's fine. You know, I'm her role model here, and it's fine that she sees that in me. And now we both have this love for makeup together. And this little girl's like 6 years old. And it's like, yeah, my kids saw me go to work with makeup on too, okay? But it doesn't mean that either one of them felt that they should be doing that too, because I never encouraged that. And they understood the difference between the two of us, that I am a grown adult and they are not. And so, you know, and there were times like my daughter went through this phase when she was younger. She was probably like 10, and she really wanted to get like the, I think they're called snake bite piercings, where they have the two here on their lower lip. She'd seen one of her like favorite musicians have that on their face. And she's like, Mom, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. And I said, well, you can do that if you want when you're old enough, when you're 18 or however old, at 21, I don't know, however old it is where you can get those kinds of types of piercing. I said, that's fine, but you're not doing it at 10. And I have seen kids, I know kids that have had, that are, you know, 10 or, you know, 11, 12, who have like this part of their nose pierced, their lips pierced, their whatever. And I'm thinking, you know, they're young, their brains aren't fully formed yet. And maybe when they are fully formed and they're older, maybe they are going to regret that decision to have that done. You know, not that I think there's anything wrong with facial piercings. I don't. But I also think that like when kids, I'm going to go back in with this brush. When kids are little, they're not always, you know, the best judge of what, or they don't really understand the, how do I word this? Like the, not repercussions, but like the, they might just grow out of that phase. You know what I mean? They might grow out of wanting to have their faces pierced, and now their face is pierced. So now they have to they have to take it out if they don't want it anymore, let it close up. Sometimes it doesn't close up, you know? I just feel like let's wait until they're maybe a little older to pierce their face all up, you know? I don't know. And I'm really not trying to be judgmental against someone that has facial piercings. Okay, I'm not. But I just think, you know, letting a 10-year-old decide that is a little, not something I would have let my 10-year-old do, that's for damn sure. Anyway, back to the Sephora kid situation. So, you know, these moms are taking their kids in there saying, well, they have their own money to spend. They have their own money to spend. But the parent gave them the money. Like, they have a job, you know? An 8-year-old has a job doing what? I mean, maybe they're getting like chore money or something. One of the ladies said that her daughter had like, I don't know, $400 from the tooth fairy. Okay, well, who's the tooth fairy? You know? I'm gonna go back in with that lighter blue shade and just blend just a little bit more out here. So I'm just thinking, okay, this little kiddo did not get the money from their own volition. You're giving them the money. Okay, let's call this what it is. And so she takes her daughter in to Sephora to buy stuff, and she ends up buying, I think the total was like around $500 on makeup products, and she's like 8, I think 6 or 8, I don't know. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I do like this. I might add a little bit more of the purple as I put the shimmers on. So I think what I'll do now is put this shimmer called Bioluminescent right there, and then I'm going to put this beautiful shade called Sailor's Delight towards the front. Yes. So the mom and the daughter come home, right? And they have to now do a haul video. They're doing a haul video together, and they're going to show everything that she picked up from Sephora, this little girl. And you would not believe the stuff that she picked up. I mean, very expensive makeup, very expensive skincare. And the mom's just like, why did you get this stuff? Tell everyone why you got it. And she's like, well, I just like to play in makeup. I just like to play with it, Mom. It's just really fun to play. And I'm thinking, then take her to Claire's, you know, take her to Claire's, take her to CVS. I don't know if she wants to play in makeup. I'm just, and also now we have these kids, these girls, these little girls who are now having horrendous breakouts all over their face. The skincare is not meant for their skin. They have this baby fresh skin and they're putting really harsh products on it. It's meant for, you know, older skin or anti-aging or whatever. And these girls are having these just horrendous breakouts. They're allergic reactions. Their skin is just going haywire because it's not meant for them. So then we have now these pictures of these girls' faces just blown all up because they're using stuff they have no business using. Let me grab this brush here, and I'm going to go now into Sailor's Delight and put that towards the front. I love that blue shimmer. It's so pretty. And like, you know, the parents are just horrified. The moms are just horrified that, oh, look at her face. And, well, duh. Yeah, look at her face. Like, you allowed her to get this stuff. Like, it's so weird to me. So strange. It's just like this very haphazard, do whatever you want. Let's encourage these young kids to act like they're grown adults. But only up to a certain point, because, you know, I don't really want to deal with anything beyond the fun stuff. Their teachers should be dealing with it, or the iPad can babysit them. I don't know. It's just very strange to me. And it's just something I don't really understand because, you know, of course, I was not raised that way at all. And my kids weren't raised that way either. And I know I mentioned, I'll say this one more time. I don't think that every parent that has a Gen Alpha child is allowing this kind of stuff to go on. But it's just, I don't know. It's very strange. And I think a lot of it is done for attention, you know, because they're filming this stuff and putting it up on social media. And now, you know, the kids have gotten all these likes and this and that. And that was another thing that I saw too in those videos, is these kids who are allowed to have, you know, the Instagram and the Facebook and all this stuff, and like how focused they are on getting views and likes and all this attention and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, when I was younger, my kids were younger, I remember the big thing, I'm gonna go in with my finger with Sailor's Delight. The big thing was like the beauty pageants being this, you know, crazy situation, and how it was, you know, sexualizing and over sexualizing kids and things like that. Now it's like it's taken on this whole other situation. I don't know. And yes, I used to play with makeup when I was little. My mom would let me play in her makeup bag in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday, and I would put my makeup on and have a wonderful time. And, you know, like I've talked about this, I would go into my mom's room. I'm going to go back into this shade here called Tentacles. I would go into my mom's room in the morning and do like a fashion show for her and look at my makeup. And my mom would be like, oh, look at that little girl. She's so beautiful. But I certainly wasn't, and we didn't have social media, so it's different. But, you know, I know damn good and well she wouldn't have allowed me to like post those pictures up online or vlog that process. And I was not allowed to leave the house at that age with a full face of makeup on. No way. It was just something to do, to play and have fun. But the fact that these kids like own better makeup products and better skincare products than I've ever even had in this house is unbelievable to me at such a young age. Another thing that I was going to touch on when I was talking about like the spelling and the reading and how dismal some of these kids' scores are, and how they're just like, you know, this one teacher talks about how he teaches 8th grade and that there's kids in his class that can't even read at a 4th grade level. But by God, they can play Minecraft and Fortnite and whatever else. They were also talking about the fact that a lot of these kids speak in acronyms a lot of times. And there was a little clip too. Let me see. I'm gonna go back in with Explorer, that kind of medium blue shade out here. There was a little video clip of these like young girls, probably 10 years old, maybe 11, and they're driving around with their mom. And the whole time they're talking in like LOL, LMAO, ROFL, you know, that type of stuff. And it's everything they're saying has been now changed into an acronym. And also some of the things they were talking about, I felt, were extremely inappropriate for these girls to even know about. I was like, oh God, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean to sound like an old fuddy-duddy or super old-fashioned or whatever. I mean, you know, it's not like I was, you know, squeaky innocent when I was, well, at that age I pretty much was. I mean, you know, I had my share of fun as I was growing up, but more so like in high school and college. I just thought, how do they even know what this stuff even means? And the mom's like laughing and, where did you hear that? And, oh, ha, ha, ha. And they're like, TikTok. That's another thing, TikTok. I understand that, you know, those of us that are adults and stuff, I don't think there's anything wrong with people. I don't like TikTok, but I know a ton of people that do. But I'm telling you, if I had little kids, they would not be on TikTok. No way, you know, no way. And, you know, I have a grandson who's almost 2, and my daughter wouldn't even think to let him be on TikTok or Instagram or anything. I'm going to go back into the Baited shade, just add a little bit more of this around the edge of this pink shade because I feel like it's not that blended. I don't know, the TikTok stuff just makes me get a little like, what the hell? It's just so bizarre. I don't know. But the fact that like this type of stuff is eating into children's education, parents are allowing that to go on, it makes me nervous for the future. Like, what are these kids going to be able to do and able to accomplish if they aren't learning the stuff they need to learn? You know, I remember too, I was talking to my husband about this last night. And when I was growing up, we had to take penmanship classes, like learn how to write in cursive. Now, I don't really write in cursive now. I kind of have like a mix between cursive and printing. But like, they don't teach cursive at all anymore. Not that you have to teach cursive, but it's just a really good way to learn how to write and to write correctly and have your, you know, writing be legible and that sort of thing. And I think when my kids were in grade school, they did kind of touch on cursive, but not really. And I mean, I didn't love cursive. I really didn't love learning how to do cursive writing, but also it helped me become a better, my penmanship looked better. You know, it was legible and you could read it and stuff. And I started noticing when my kids were growing up, like my daughter's left-handed, and she's not, writing is not her, she doesn't love it. Reading she loves, but writing is not. But her handwriting is a little, my son has great handwriting but he learned how to print. I don't know. It's just, even then I could start seeing it happening. I'm like, chill. You know, and I got the little penmanship workbooks and, you know, we worked on that stuff together, and, you know, maybe the handwriting's just not my daughter's strong suit, whatever. I'm not trying to put my daughter down. She's a wonderful person. It's just her handwriting's a little like, and when I was growing up, handwriting was a big deal. But that's the thing. Like, I had like workbooks and notebooks and, you know, paper that the kids got to play with and learn how to do things on. Nowadays, you just don't see that stuff anymore. Go back into the Catch Me shade. Go around the outside edge of this. Whoops. You just don't see it anymore. You know, you just don't see kids. I don't ever see kids like when I'm out in public, like, you know, waiting for the doctor or, you know, getting my oil changed or whatever. And if there's kids around, by God, they have a phone in their hands. They have an iPad. I'm like, give them a book, give them a notebook and a pencil or a pen or whatever. And like, I don't know. It's just, you know, there are wonderful things about technology, and there's also very limiting, scary things about technology. And it just makes me really nervous as to what is going to happen as time continues to go on and technology gets more and more, you know, I don't know. So yeah, I know I was kind of all over the place talking about all these different aspects, but I would love to know what you guys think of this stuff. And I don't know. I just, the Sephora kids thing, just, oh, I mean, I know I have a smile on my face. It's not funny. It's really not funny. It's horrible. And then just the technological aspect of things, and just, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's really mind-blowing to me. I mean, I watched those videos that Charlie sent me, and the whole time I think my chin was in my lap. So I'm pretty much done with this look. I think it turned out really nice. I love it. It's really fun and lots of different colors, and I love it. And everything works so well in the palette. So what I will do is, of course, I'll clean this up, do my other eye. I'm nervous I'm not going to get it quite like this one, but we'll see. The rest of my face, I will dry my hair. I will come back. So this is the finished look, and man, did I have a good time putting this look together. The Lure palette from Blend Bunny is one of my, oh gosh, probably top 5 maybe favorite palettes. Definitely in the top 10, but I'm thinking maybe even the top 5. It's such a good palette. So happy that Charlie suggested that we do a Blend Bunny collab. And I am so excited to see Charlie's look come together. I do know what it looks like. She sent me pictures and it's stunning. It's really creative. She is super creative. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy watching. I know you guys are going to really enjoy watching her look come together. And of course, I can't wait to hear what she talks about in terms of the Sephora kids, Gen Alpha, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to show you the palette again and just kind of recap what I did and how I feel about the palette. But let me show you just a few things I put on my face for my finished look. On my lips, I used a lip gloss from Ladybug Glow. This is like a metallic lip gloss in the shade Purple Haze. Beautiful purple, sparkly, well, maybe not sparkly, metallic looking gloss, but very subtle. It's really pretty and it feels really nice on my lips. And then for my lower waterlines, I used a Beauty Creations gel liner in the shade Denim. I just thought the blue would look nice. I thought about purple or pink, but honestly, I just didn't feel like digging around in my tub a whole long time, so I just grabbed this and I love it. And then for my upper lids, I did line them with the Fatal Beauty Black Like My Soul felt tip liner. Yes, I did. Of course I did. And then for my mascara, I'm still using the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effects Mascara. Love it. It's a wonderful mascara and super cheap. For my inner corners, I grabbed another shade out of the Sugar Drizzle. I'll try to hold this so it doesn't blind you. Mini Glow Cube palette. I used this one right here. It's kind of like a purpley pink shifting shade. It's absolutely beautiful. So now let's talk about the palette. Blend Bunny Lure palette. So fun. Loved all the shades that I put together for this look. On my lower lash lines, I used a combination of Explore and Tentacles. Really fun. I thought about throwing the Booty shade down here too, but you know, pinks on my lower lash lines are not my favorite. But yeah, I mean, everything just works so well. The mattes are just superb. They are pigmented. They are blendable. The shimmers are super dynamic and very opaque and just apply to the lid beautifully. And, you know, they do get a little bit blown up on my lids, but not in a bad way, in a very good way. Not like the Beauty Bay Dark Fantasy palette that just explodes. These don't explode, but they just kind of settle. And as your skin warms up, they just meld together so beautifully. And just a really fun color combo, you know, that I felt like I put together today. The blues and pinks and purple, just really fun. And this is another palette that I could definitely do another multiple looks with. If you guys would be interested in seeing me do more with this palette, please let me know about that in the comment section. I would be thrilled to do that. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm gonna have Charlie's channel and her video linked in my description box. Do yourself a huge favor and go and support her channel if you don't already do that. Subscribe, watch her other content, definitely watch this video. I'm really looking forward to hearing her take on this whole subject of Gen Alpha and Sephora kids. I really enjoyed her last video, our last collab video. It was really interesting to get like her take on it and also to hear how similar we are and how we view this whole situation. And you know, I understand that with each generation that comes up, there are challenges, there are wonderful parts of it. You know, I mean, I'm Gen X, and although I'm very biased and think that my generation is the best, I don't think that Gen X was perfect either. I just think that there's a lot of things that are happening in this current Gen Alpha generation that are very frightening and very worrisome. And I don't know. I think about these things that I watched and just went back and watched again, and I just thought, is this really happening? I mean, it is really happening, but it's like my brain just doesn't want to accept it. I just think that things need to get under control here. I think parents need to rein their kids in and understand that there is a time and a place for, you know, social media and playing with an iPad and going to Sephora and lots of other things, but that I don't think it needs to be done when they are little babies just starting out in the world, you know, grade school into, I mean, you're a baby, I think, until you're well into your 20s. So yeah, it just makes me go, it's a head scratcher, that's for sure. Let me know what you guys think about the things I talked about. If you have other stories of Gen Alpha or Sephora kids or anything related to that, let me know about that in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys, because I think the more attention this stuff gets and the more the spotlight gets shown on it in terms of it being a negative thing, maybe it'll turn itself around, or people will turn it around, parents. I don't know. And of course, I want to say a huge thank you to Charlie for collabing with me again. This was so much fun. Charlie, I really hope we can do this again. I just adore you. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.